Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my channel where I talk about all things Eurovision. I have been watching Eurovision since I was 6 years old. As a kid, I grew up, I started watching Eurovision in 2006, live from Athens, and I watched Malta come dead last. And ever since then, I never looked back, and I can say that this contest is kind of what made me who I am today. Believe it or not, as a kid, my most, my biggest disappointments were never the results, but my biggest disappointments were always the withdrawals. The countries that withdrew from Eurovision for a number of reasons, year in, year out. I watched Andorra withdraw in 2009, together with Bosnia and Herzegovina and Slovakia and Turkey in 2013. I was very sad to see Hungary go in 2020, and I was deeply, deeply upset when Russia and Belarus were expelled in 2022. I was very, very upset when, due to financial problems, North Macedonia, Bulgaria, and Montenegro had to withdraw from Eurovision 2023. And believe it or not, I wasn't very sad to see Spain, Slovenia, Ireland, the Netherlands, Spain, Slovenia, the Netherlands, and Ireland. Yeah, Ireland, Spain, Slovenia, the Netherlands, oh, and Iceland. I wasn't upset to see these countries go from Eurovision 2026. And that is what brings me to this live stream tonight. Why am I not upset that we're losing countries at Eurovision? Well, you can guess why that is, but what happened last week at the EBU General Assembly, which meant that Israel will continue participating at Eurovision while the countries that don't want that to happen were sidelined, that upset me a lot for a number of reasons. I was one of the few people who reacted to Israel's song last year at Eurovision. And I also said that they will win the televote. And they had a good song. New Day Will Rise was a great song. And in doing so, I put aside all of my political beliefs. Why? Because as much as you guys, I want to be united by music. Make no mistake, if we're going to talk about politics, anyone who knows me knows that I am the most pro-Palestine person that I can be. And I am the most anti-Zionist person that I can be. And the only reason why I'm saying this is to prove that there are people online doing reactions who are putting aside their political views in order to comment about the music. Here's where it gets a little bit tricky. I am ready to let go of the fight against Israel only if it made sense. And it will make sense if aggressor countries in the world of geopolitics are treated the same. Russia and Belarus were expelled from Eurovision. But Israel, with so much more pressure from the international community, cannot be removed. And they are protected. Not only is Israel kept in Eurovision, but they are looked after via multiple means. And I do believe that press freedom at Eurovision is restricted because we need to protect Eurovision and we need to protect Israel at Eurovision. And I do believe that the countries that withdrew from Eurovision 2026 are being ignored when they raise questions about Israel's participation in this contest. This has a lot to do with Israel being protected at Eurovision. And make no mistake, my love for Eurovision is unconditional, okay? With or without this country, I am committed to the contest that made me who I am. But this is the greatest test that I ever faced as a Eurovision fan. And as fans, as journalists, as bloggers, As these people, I am a fan as much as I am a blogger. It really hurts me. It really, really hurts me to see this eye-watering news throughout the week. And it hurt me in the past to see eye-watering news come out from Eurovision. I mean, let's remember that the contest was cancelled in 2020. The contest had to be interrupted because of the coronavirus pandemic. But we came together as a community. And the contest came back, and it was one of the most beautiful contests I've ever lived through. And this was a contest, 2021, where the winner won the televote fair and square. I never thought I would say this, to be honest, but I do wish that this was still 2021 and we were still united by music. 5 countries have withdrawn from Eurovision 2026. And this would not have happened if Israel was treated like every other country in the contest. They have withdrawn from the 70th anniversary of Eurovision. On this episode of Eurovision Uncensored, we will be talking about this, and I have some special guests joining me for this live stream that I wish I was never doing. Those of you who are watching, please ask your questions. Please come and tell us your thoughts. I'm already seeing that some of you are here, and we will be interacting with you live, okay? As usual, if you like my content, come and subscribe to my channel, because I am committed to this contest and I want to interact with you guys. So come and subscribe, because I'm not stopping here. And if you want to interact with me on a personal level, you can follow me on my socials. Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter is mostly where I am at. The episode we have been waiting for. Well, Florian, I was not waiting for this episode. I didn't want to do this, and I took my time because I did not want to compromise my place at Eurovision because I say something that might hurt my place at Eurovision because of Israel. So, trust and believe, I was not waiting for this episode, but here we are. Here we are. Okay. Are we ready? Let's go. Wow, what a day to be talking about Eurovision. Yes, Ishom, the only one that upset me was Slovenia. Well, I have to give it to Slovenia here for kind of creating a domino effect and really and truly starting this protest. You know, the Slovenian broadcaster is a very, very small one. And when they were the only ones who were not committing to Eurovision 2026, I thought, you know, maybe we're only going to lose Slovenia and that will be it. But we really, really have to give it to them, because this isn't even about the results of the countries in the past. This isn't even about almost their history, you know? This is about not 1, not 2, 5 countries that are ready to compromise their position at a contest they have been committed to for years, coming together and saying, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. So I really, really appreciate the Slovenian broadcaster for kickstarting this movement and saying no to a contest which has been compromised by the participation of one country. I think we will see Slovenia, Iceland, and the Netherlands back if Israel behaves. this is the scope of this is the scope of this live stream, kind of. My question is, what happens now? What happens now? Because we're never going to get rid of Israel. We're never going to have a contest where every country is treated fairly, because if there was 1 year where Israel would have lost its place in the contest, it should have been this one. It should have been this one. I've never seen so much international pressure on the contest for Israel to be removed. And even with Russia, even with Russia, it was very quick. It was very quick, but it didn't go on for this long, and it didn't need to. It didn't need to. I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. It is only a matter of time. Some people have asked me, and I'm gonna say this in the beginning, if I'm going to Eurovision 2026. I don't know if I'm going to Eurovision 2026. I was in Malmö in 2024, and I was also in Basel earlier this year. I don't know if I'm going to be in Vienna, and this isn't a decision that I'm going to make very lightly. This is something that, believe it or not, I haven't thought about so much yet, but because I haven't thought about it, I don't want to commit to a decision. But I don't feel like there's anything to celebrate at this point. I really, really don't feel like there's much to celebrate. And it is deeply upsetting that a contest with so much history, with so much pride, this is the 70th anniversary. People who haven't been to Eurovision and love Eurovision should be in Vienna this year. But it's the opposite effect. It's people who usually go to Eurovision don't want to go this year. We all know why. Let's talk a little bit about the countries that are leaving, and let's break it down one by one. So Ireland is gone. Ireland has won the contest more than anyone else except Sweden in the history of the contest. And as the branding of Eurovision, if the country that has won the contest the most times is not here, then there's something wrong. There's something wrong. If Ireland is not there, there is something wrong. Today we've seen that the winner of Eurovision in 1994 is also returning his trophy, together with Nemo from Switzerland. And I've never seen anything like this. I have never, ever seen anything like this. And I wasn't someone who was really, really happy about Switzerland winning Eurovision in 2024 based off the song. But in protest of this, seeing former Eurovision winners who are associated to this contest return the trophy, they're basically saying to the EBU, we do not want to be associated with propaganda. We do not want to be associated with any of this. And it is deeply, deeply upsetting. I'm very sad to see Ireland go. And I'm also very sad to see the Netherlands out of Eurovision. The Netherlands have hosted Eurovision very, very recently. They pulled off an amazing show under very, very tense and restricting circumstances. And they're not there. They're not there. I think with the Netherlands, it has been a long time coming, because with the Joost Klein of it all in 2024, it is clear that the EBU and Avrotros, the Dutch broadcaster, had a lot of beef. And people were expecting the Netherlands to withdraw last year after what happened with Joost Klein. But I see that the Dutch broadcaster has picked the right time to leave Eurovision. Spain aches my heart. I was planning to go to Benidorm Fest this year for the first time, and I've been to Pre-Party S in 2023, and it's true what they say about the Spanish Eurovision fans. There is nothing like the Spanish Eurovision fans. Spain really hurts me. And to be honest, now I think I might go to Benidorm Fest even more because I do want to support RTVE and the whistleblowing acts that they're doing with Eurovision. We've already talked about Slovenia, and Iceland is the most recent withdrawal. And honestly speaking, I wasn't expecting Iceland to withdraw from Eurovision because they have been associated with The Boy Who Cried Wolf. And again, the movement is huge. And even Iceland, who is under a lot of Nordic pressure to stay in Eurovision, Iceland also found their balls and withdrew from Eurovision. But it is what it is. Do we expect more withdrawals? Some people are looking at Portugal. Some people are looking at Australia. Honestly, I don't expect more withdrawals to happen. But one thing is for sure, it's not going to be an easy and smooth sailing national final season. Okay, joining me tonight, all the way from Dublin, Ireland, is Adam McCulloch himself. Good evening, Adam. How are you?
Hi, I'm actually in Galway in Ireland, not in Dublin.
Oops, I did not turn on my geolocation.
Yeah, I'm in the west of Ireland. I'm about 2 hours away from Dublin.
Nice. Adam, nice to meet you. Nice to have
Same.
you on my live stream. It's been a difficult week, Adam. It's been a very, very difficult week for all of us. And I want to start by asking, what's the mood in Ireland among Eurovision fans and also among casual Eurovision fans?
Among Eurovision fans, I think we're all very sad, very disappointed, very angry. We feel betrayed by the European Broadcasting Union, by the executive board, by the television committee, the people making these decisions. I don't know why there was no standalone vote on Israel's participation. They were only going to have one if the reforms package failed. I think they both should have been standalone votes because they're both very separate things. And I think for transparency as well, because I think now there's a huge lack of trust in the organization. And I think the recent news of like the Portuguese artists and winners bringing back their trophies to the EBU headquarters, we now have 2 so far. It's insane. So I think for the Euro fans, yeah, we're very, very upset. A lot of people were planning on going to Basel, like hundreds of us in Ireland, but like most people are just cancelling their reservations now. And even if they have flights to Vienna, they're still not going, the majority of them, because like when this organization, it's not just Israel competing, it's when they side with Israel over 5 countries, 5 very important countries. That's the thing that really, really hurts when you consider all the factors and why they're not competing. So yeah, we're all very disappointed at the European Broadcasting Union. And for the general public, yeah, I think most people support this decision. There's been polling on it around, I think 76% of the Irish public support this position by RTE. So it's an overwhelming majority. So they have to listen to their constituents who pay the TV license, and they have to consider all the other factors. And I think they've definitely made the right decision for themselves.
Would you say that there is a sizable segment of the media in Ireland who is against RTE and their stand?
To be honest, no. There might be some right-wing or maybe some far-right voices on Twitter, some Twitter personalities. But no, I haven't seen anything in the media criticizing RTE's position from any political parties, from any major people in the media. So actually, no, I think it's an overwhelming majority of people who support this position. It may be different in the other countries that have withdrawn, but in Ireland, I think, yeah, it's a huge majority.
That's really telling, isn't it? That's really telling that when so many Eurovision fans who literally live for the month of May are happy that their country is not participating in Eurovision. How damaging is that to the brand?
Yeah, like it's horrifying. Like the last time Ireland didn't compete, I wasn't born. It was 2002 because I was born in 2003. We've taken part every year, I think, since 1966, apart from twice. There was one time because of strikes at the broadcaster, and the other time in 2002, Eurovision had like a relegation system back then where the
Yeah.
bottom five couldn't compete the next year, and Ireland were in the bottom five. So we've never really chosen not to compete for a reason like this, or any reason since we started competing. So yeah, this is huge. I applaud RTE for listening to their people, and yeah, I'm not sure when Ireland's going to be back. We'll see what happens with the contest this year, but yeah, if things don't change, I don't feel very optimistic about the end result, and I think it's going to be a car crash in May.
Yeah, that's for me actually. That's the biggest takeaway of it all, because if this was just one bleak year where we're not going to have these 5 countries, we can survive. But there is no end. There's no light at the end of the tunnel here, and clearly it doesn't seem like these broadcasters are going to move their positions, as they should, in my opinion. But it also shows that Israel is here to stay, and
Yeah.
if this year we couldn't get something done, and away from the geopolitics of it all, I mean, make no mistake, for those people who might be watching us and don't follow Eurovision, there is proof that Israel has manipulated the televote last year. And there was a huge government campaign costing $80 million that helped Israel get all of those points in the televote. So this isn't just about politics. This is about the integrity of the contest.
Yeah, and I also think for next year, like some of these broadcasters that are competing, they aren't very happy. Like the Belgian broadcasters, they said in their statement, I'm paraphrasing, but they said they're disappointed in the European Broadcasting Union for not doing more to unify the contest, and the Polish broadcaster don't seem very happy either. So we could see more countries withdraw next year. Like I could see Belgium withdrawing, I could see Poland withdrawing if the same thing happens, and maybe there's some of the Nordics potentially. And let's say if Belgium wins the contest, or one of these countries wins, I'm not sure like how this would work with the contracts, but maybe they could be like, we're only hosting if Israel's not there. So that could be a mess. But it could also be a mess if Germany wins and they're like, we're only going to host if Israel's there. So yeah, it's an absolute mess, and I don't think they're thinking about all the long-term implications of this.
Absolutely. Adam, away from the politics of it all and away from the Irish reaction, I don't know about you. I started my channel in 2021, and I took a lot of inspiration from creators like Alicia Michelle, Mihal from Eurovision Hub, who's also Irish, Stuart. I also follow the Eurovision podcast.
Yeah.
I also follow yourself and your content. A lot of creators are pushing the red button. Alicia Michelle will not be following the contest anymore. Eurovision will not be producing content anymore. Eurovision Hub is gone. Stuart is gone. I don't know if Gabe has made a decision yet, but ESC Gabe, the biggest YouTube reactor.
I don't think he's made a decision yet.
But these people are off of YouTube this year, and as a fan, away from all of it, I'm worried about if I have anything left to watch. This is really, really disheartening, isn't it?
Yeah, and I also started making content in 2021 as well. And I remember like back in the days watching these wiwibloggs live streams inside the press room, where when like in the press room they had like a lot more access. They were in there for like 2 weeks, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I also was a big fan. I'm still a big fan of Alicia Michelle. I watched that live stream, most of it, where she made that announcement on YouTube about her not making content, and it kind of broke my heart, like all the stuff she was saying and all the things, like I don't know her that well, but all the things she had to go through, it breaks my heart. And yeah, Eurovision, like I listen to like all their episodes because I'm Irish, and they're like an Irish Eurovision podcast. They're amazing. They make amazing content. So yeah, it will be very sad to see them not make content. I've no clue what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to release a statement when the participating list is announced early next week, either the day of it or the day after. But yeah, and for other people as well, like it's just heartbreaking seeing all these creators gone, like who are so talented and who provide just so much like energy and just amazing content to the Eurovision ecosystem.
I agree. I agree completely. I mean, I I wanted to watch that Alicia Michelle live stream live, but I I had to take my time with things because I
Yeah,
didn't want to I didn't want to dive into the water as soon as the waves were coming in. And I watched it, I think, a couple of days ago, almost in preparation for this stream. And it was really, really upsetting because me as a European, I don't know about you, but me at least, I've always had this kind of skepticism about the American input at Eurovision. And Elisa Michelle is an American content creator who has completely and utterly embraced Eurovision better than some Europeans. So to see her, in my opinion, go away from Eurovision is a massive, massive, massive loss. And it honestly, as a fan, I mean, as a creator, strategically would think, okay, more people will watch our content if we continue. But I didn't think about it that way because I'm a fan first, you know? What am I going to be watching in April when the national finals are done and people are going to be
yeah,
making those sorts of predictions? What are we
yeah.
going to be watching?
I know it's heartbreaking, and also like there's no, as you said earlier, like no Madrid pre-party. There's going to be very
Yeah.
few pre-parties this year for like opportunities for people to make content. So, and it's going to be very weird, like having Eurovision in concert in Amsterdam when they're not even competing, the country, the Netherlands. And I'm also worried about protests at national finals, at pre-parties like we saw in 2024 to an extent that disappeared in 2025, because things are very heated. There's a lot of organization happening at the moment, and a lot of energy on this issue. So I think it's going to be a very, very messy year, and I hope somehow this decision can be reversed, or at least they could have a standalone vote on Israel's participation, because like many delegations don't even trust this organization, and if you're losing the trust of the delegations, then no one's ever going to trust you. So I think have a standalone vote on Israel's participation, like just vote on that, and I think that would be a good thing to have.
That is what should have happened, you know? I mean,
Yeah,
the broadcast 8 broadcasters asked for a vote and they were denied, and the statute of the EBU specifies that if 5 broadcasters ask for this, the vote has to go on. So the EBU conditioned a vote on Israel through the new rules. And obviously, most people were happy with the new rules. I wasn't, but that's another conversation for another day. Um, they conditioned the vote on Israel with the new rules. So I don't even think that the people who voted yes actually voted for Israel's participation, but they voted yes for the new rules, which is the most undemocratic thing to do, in my opinion.
yeah, it's all just very, very confusing, and yeah, there should have been a standalone vote. And I just really worry about like the image of the contest, like especially among the music scenes across Europe. Like we would have had so many big names like this year and last year, but they're all afraid to enter Eurovision for their careers, for moral issues, which are completely understandable. So yeah, I'm just worried about the reputation that this contest has. And this contest, they love to talk about. They have a huge youth audience in their statistics every year when they release them. But young people don't want Israel competing, the vast majority of them, for legitimate reasons. So I'm very worried about the image of the contest and how it's perceived, especially in my country where we're not even competing. And yeah, I think there's a lot of just very angry people. And yeah, I think the anger is justified. And I just hope something can be done and this decision can be reversed.
I have to pull up a comment here from Florian who asked, "What did Malta say?" Well, I'm assuming you're talking about PBS, who is our broadcaster. I do not have any information about what Malta said in the EBU General Assembly, although the person that was in Geneva on behalf of Khan, the Israeli broadcaster, pinpointed PBS as one of the broadcasters who stood up for Israel at the assembly. I do not know whether this is true or not. I will verify this information in the coming weeks, but as of now, with Junior Eurovision, I'm not in touch with the broadcaster as much as I usually am in low season, but I will be verifying this information very soon. And whether or not Malta stood up for Israel, I will say that there are two sides to the coin, in my opinion, because there were a lot of calls for boycott in Malta, and most NGOs are calling the culture minister, who's in charge of the broadcaster, to withdraw from Eurovision. I will say this: I feel like the pressure on the EBU should have come from the 9 countries that asked for Russia to be excluded in 2022. Because by doing that, we have set a precedent at Eurovision where aggressor countries do not compete in the contest. And I'm not here to talk about Russia, but I'm pretty sure that if Russia was never expelled, we would be a little bit more understanding about the united by music of it all and about the neutrality of it all that the EBU is trying to push for. But in my opinion, there is no neutrality and no united by music when you've acted one way with 2 countries and you're acting a completely different way with another countries. So in my opinion, I actually think the Nordics and the Baltic countries have really messed this up, in my opinion, because they've shown that their stand against Russia at Eurovision was never really about Ukraine, but it was more about Russia. And the fact that they took no stand against Israel. In fact, Ukraine actually stood up for Israel at the General Assembly, believe it or not, which is the double standard of the century, if you ask me. But the fact that these broadcasters did not follow up on the precedent that they wanted to set 3 years ago is very baffling to me. And if there should be any pressure on any broadcasters, for me, it should be about them. What do you think, Adam?
I'm very disappointed in the Scandinavian countries in particular, and yeah, I was looking at that list the last day. I don't really blame the countries that like border Russia, because it's like their own borders they're worried about. But I think Denmark, Norway, Sweden, maybe Finland. I think those countries, because I know the RUV chair or president, he said in an open letter in his personal capacity before this decision happened that the Scandinavian broadcasters, they need to stop cozying up to Netanyahu. And yeah, it is a double standard with them calling for Russia to be like banned in 2022, which I agree with, but not calling for Israel to be banned now. It is a double standard, and it's very, very disappointing. I really expect more from these Nordic broadcasters. I'm glad Iceland, they did their own thing. They did the right thing. They listened to their own people. I know there's a huge backlash, especially in Finland. I've been looking at the comment sections. And yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure what the contracts are like for these national finals. Some national finals have very strict contracts where they are like obliged to go to Eurovision, and they have to like they're in the contracts for like 2 months after Eurovision as well for some future projects. But that isn't the case for Portugal, as we see, because 12 out of 16 singers are saying they're not going to go to Eurovision, and that could be 16 by the time it happens, the selection. And I think there's a lot of pressure on those 4 singers now who haven't signed that letter thing. So yeah, it's going to be a mess. We'll see some national final winners refuse to go to Eurovision, I think. Or at least I think they will release statements, some of them, maybe opposing Israel's participation. There may be issues with the code of conduct that the EBU introduced that kind of avoided that happening last year. But I think it's going to happen this year, and it's going to be just 2024 on steroids.
Completely. Yeah, it's going to be a really, really bumpy national final ride. Adam, I want to pull up a reel I saw from yours that I saw it in the evening, and I was literally thinking the same thing in the morning and the morning before. And it really struck me because it is what you said about this slogan of United by Music. For those people who haven't seen it, let's look at this reel.
When Eurovision now says, we're united by music, they're basically calling you stupid. They're saying you've a very small brain, and you've a very low IQ. It's extremely incompetent and tone deaf at best, or completely lying to your faces at worst. How can you claim to be united by music, when the organisation sides with a country committing genocide? Over 4 of its members, including a founding member, a member that won 7 times, and a Big Five member. There's a huge lack of trust in the European Broadcasting Union right now, coming from many places. I genuinely want to trust this organisation. I really do. But if the starting point is united by music, how is anyone, including the singers, the artists, the delegations, gonna trust anything this organisation ever says? Just because something sounds good in a corporate meeting doesn't mean it sounds good in the actual real world. It's actually really, really insulting. You're insulting the fans that buy tickets every year. You're insulting the people that turn on their TV for Eurovision, that hold Eurovision parties every year. You're insulting the content creators like me who contribute to your online digital views every year. Like, talking about me personally, I've contributed well over 100 million views alone to Eurovision TikTok. You're also insulting many members of your own staff. If there's still integrity left, if there's honesty, we have to be honest with each other. December 2025 was the death of United by Music, and the contest should act accordingly. There's so many other amazing slogans out there that aren't offensive and insulting like this one. So I would highly recommend removing United by Music from your social content, from the branding of Eurovision, because it's not going to happen this year. When 4 countries withdraw over something as sensitive as this, it's not going to happen. There has to be major work to restore trust in the European Broadcasting Union. Dialogue needs to happen, and I'm always open for dialogue, for respectful dialogue. I'm sorry if this sounded harsh, but the slogan at this stage, it just boils my blood.
I have nothing to add. You tell me.
Yeah. So, like, as I said in the video, like, it was an amazing slogan for the first time in Liverpool. It was also the first Eurovision I ever attended in person. It was an amazing show, a collaboration between talents of the UK and the Ukraine, after Ukraine couldn't host obviously because of the war with Russia, the invasion. And they introduced the slogan in November 2023. And in 2024, we were the furthest thing from United by Music. Again, in 2025, especially with the very strange ending with the voting results. And now, when you have countries like withdrawing from the contest, including a founding member, a Big Five member, and my country that won 7 times, the joint most with Sweden, like, you're lying to people's faces. This magic world is not going to happen, and I just find it really insulting. It's like, it's just someone lying to your face, and you know they're lying, and they keep lying to you. It's just kind of like a toxic relationship in a way. So I'm not happy with the slogan. I just don't think it's not very honest, and I prefer people to be honest to me.
I find it really patronizing as well. And when you said the EBU is basically telling you have a very small brain and you have a very low IQ, I mean, anyone could tell that we are not united by music. Anyone. I feel like we're divided by music because, honestly, this is something that Stuart picked up on, and it really touched me because for most of us, Eurovision is a place of escapism. You know, for younger selves, you know, I used to use Eurovision as a way to escape from my studying, and you know, when I had a bad day at school, I knew that Eurovision was always there, and when family issues come up, you know, Eurovision is always there. And nowadays, I don't feel that. I don't feel that Eurovision is always there. And if Eurovision wasn't there, it almost feels like it's one less thing to worry about. I can't subscribe to this United by Music thing, and I hope they keep United by Music for this year, and I hope they keep it for however long this situation prevails. But if we ever get out of this, United by Music needs to go, because that slogan, however good it is now associated with the worst of Eurovision, and
Yeah.
I don't think that it's going to help Eurovision's branding?
Yeah, I really want to know who's in charge of the branding, who's making these decisions, because yeah, it's very questionable, like all of this. Like, I used to get so excited hearing the new like slogans every year: light your fire, we are one, building bridges. But now it's burning bridges. But you could still come up with something exciting every year, and I just think it helps freshen the brand. Like, the world changes, like, and I think when the world changes, slogans need to change, because it just doesn't fit the reality of the world that we're living in.
It's true. It's true. The slogans were a means to address the country that's hosting Eurovision. You know, like light your fire, building bridges, and I don't think that this uniform slogan is doing that in Eurovision these days. Adam, where do you think we go from here? What now? In the words of Constracta. So what now?
I don't know. We're getting the participation list early next week, Martin Green said. If he sticks to that, we'll see. And we'll see if any other winners, I don't know, return their trophies in the meantime. We've 2 so far. Maybe it could be 10 by the time the list happens. Maybe there could be more pressure. I don't know. I don't see how this ends well. The EBU, they've chosen to go down this path, and we'll see where it takes them. But yeah, I think there'll be lots of national final drama. I'm very worried about the mental health of the contestants. Like, some of these national final contestants, they're terrified at this whole situation. So I'm very worried about their mental health, and I hope the EBU has the right things in place to address those problems, because we saw many mental health issues after the 2024 contest with contestants. So yeah, I'm very worried about the direction of the contest. There's going to be no Ireland this year, so at least I don't have to worry about not qualifying or anything like normally. But yeah, it's going to be very weird. I don't know how this goes, but it's not going to end well. I think that's very clear.
Your guess is as good as mine. Do you think that, as I always like to see a bit of a silver lining around things, and you know, as fans, as content creators, as media people, I feel like we're so into the contest that so many times we have wasted time arguing with each other over who deserves to win Benidorm Fest, who deserves to qualify from the second semi-final. But I genuinely feel like we've never been this united as a fandom against what's happening. And the last time I remember us being this united was when Joost Klein was disqualified. And both of these stories do overlap. Do you feel like, because you're obviously on Twitter a lot, I consume Twitter, I don't contribute so much to it. Do you feel like, in a way, this, if we ever do come out of this, the fandom will be more united than ever and more concerned about the right priorities at Eurovision?
I think the fandom has changed a lot since COVID. I think people being in these lockdowns, being like more on their phones. I do think like certain elements of it have gotten, like, I haven't been in the fandom, like this Twitter fandom, for very long, but I do think there are elements of it that are a bit toxic. I think there's way too much name calling, like insults. If you want to argue about the issues, argue about the issues. But I just don't think this name calling or this petty drama, I don't think it's very productive. But I do think if Israel is banned, whether it's this year, which seems unlikely, or after the 2026 contest,
Or
I think
ever?
people will. I think people will like appreciate it, and I think people will appreciate it's like there's new light. We're going into like a new time. I guess a new day will rise, if you want to say that. But yeah, I just I think people will appreciate that and be more kind to each other. And I think there will be less drama. People will be arguing about the stuff we should argue about on who should win national finals. on why Una Na should have won Benidorm Fest instead of Melody, stuff like that.
Should she have won Benidorm Festival? You see, we're starting. One last thing, Adam. Obviously, I watch your content. I follow you on Instagram and on TikTok, and I think it's brilliant. And as a fan, I have to ask, what is the future of your content now?
I'm very, very stuck. I've done a lot of reflection before this decision and after, and I keep going around in circles and circles and circles. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make some national final videos, maybe starting tomorrow. I haven't made any yet about any of the songs, so I'm a bit behind on that, which is understandable because this news has been taking up a lot of the discourse. I'm going to try and make some national final videos and just see where it takes me. But yeah, I feel very lost. And I have a few things I want to sort out before I make a final decision. So yeah, I'm just very lost, and I've talked to like a lot of people about this, about what their plans are and stuff. But no matter what, I'm very lost, and it's very personal when it's one of your own countries, Ireland, and it's not Ireland withdrawing. That doesn't matter. It's when like the European Broadcasting Union, they side with Israel, whose government have committed crimes against humanity. They side with them over these 5 countries who should be in the contest. So that's the thing that really, really bothers me. And I think about how history is going to look back on this, and we're seeing all the like drama already. So I'm just very, very lost.
You have every right to be. I mean, the situation should not have happened, if you ask me, and we should not be here having to have this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We should not be here having to make this decision. I mean, we do content because we love the contest. We do content because some people follow us, and we're good at it. If some people follow us, right? We're talented people, and we have a common thing which brings us together, which is the love for music and the love for everything that Eurovision used to stand for. So I think you have every right to feel confused as much as I do, because this is not something easy to deal with. Of course, I'm not trying to make drama out of it. I mean, this is much easier to deal with than not having electricity, not having water, not having a right to live, not having a home, you know? But we do have to comment on the situations that we are faced with, and it is hard. It is very hard. Adam, it's been a real pleasure to talk to you for the first time. Thank you so much for contributing, and thank you for your content and for your love for Eurovision. And we will be in touch, and I would love to have you on here in the future anytime you want.
That sounds amazing. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you. Have a good night in Galway.
Thanks, you too, in Malta. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Adam. Bye. Wow. So you heard it from my friend in Ireland. It is crunch time for Eurovision, I guess. Where do we go from this? Where do we go from this? Let's see what you guys have to say. Marie da Giorgio kem nifmek. Marie is from Malta, and she's telling me that she understands me. I'm glad you do. I'm glad you do. Yeah, United by Music is the corniest slogan ever. Soon it will only be wiwibloggs, Euromix, and Eurovision fun in the press room. I mean, will we even have a press room? Will we even have a press room? Because as far as I'm concerned, I don't know if we have a press room anymore. We can't see rehearsals. We can't talk to the finalists after they make the final. What kind of press room is that? Peter, Sean, will you continue your channel? Well, you guys want to know, don't you? This discussion with Adam has really helped, because I am a small creator. I am coming from a small country. I have less than 2,000 subscribers. I haven't been doing this for a great amount of time. And a part of me does feel that if I disappear off of YouTube, no one's going to care. But at the same time, I don't want to be associated with a contest that is getting its values wrong. And just like Adam said, you know, that is something that I have given a lot of thought for. Make no mistake, I will stay. I will be here talking about Eurovision. I will be here talking about the artists that deserve to be talked about. And I'm going to be here to talk to you guys about the songs that you're playing on repeat on Spotify as the national final season goes by. I'm human, and I cannot let go of something that has been the most consistent thing in my life. But I guess I'm going to have to be here for the creators that have given up their voice because they don't have to deal with this anymore. And they are right, and I respect their decisions, all of them. And they are brave because it's not easy to let go of Eurovision when you love it as much as we do. So it is whatever you decide as a fan, as a creator, as an artist, whatever you decide on Eurovision is not going to be easy and is not going to come without consequences for your brand and for your mental health and for your, just for the way you see life, really. But I'm going to be here. I'm going to stay. And I will not let the people that want to silence us. Thanks to you guys who watch us, we have a voice. I have people tuning in to watch this live stream. Live. It's a Friday night. I have better things to do on a Friday night. You guys have better things to do on a Friday night. But we're all here watching and talking and discussing about this thing that has shaken us so hard. And we will not be silenced, okay? We will not be silenced. And this isn't even about Israel or the politics or anything. This is about the contest that has a 70-year anniversary, a 70-year history. And we want to preserve that legacy. And without us, without our voices, without our commentary, I think Eurovision would lose its most important part. Because if Eurovision happens and nobody talks about it, what is the point? What is the point? So to answer your question, Peter, yes, I'm going to continue my channel. And I'm going to ask you guys to come and subscribe if you haven't already. Because why not? You love Eurovision, or do you? Or do you? It's a tricky time to say that. If you love Eurovision, so do I. I don't know if you love Eurovision. But hey, if you want to talk to someone about Eurovision, and if you want to hear someone talk about Eurovision, come and subscribe to my channel. My content will remain. Come and follow me on all sorts of social media, because we can take this conversation further. And I do reply to you guys. And I do give light to people who want to have conversations away from the spotlight. These things, these days, not everyone can say these things publicly, and not everyone feels safe saying these things publicly. And I'm here. I'm here on YouTube, I'm here on Instagram, I'm here on TikTok, on Twitter, on Threads, if that even still exists. Come and subscribe and come and follow me on all sorts of social media, because I will be here. And Festivali Kengis is next week, and my reaction comes out on Monday. So I'm going to head off because I have that reaction to edit. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for making the community bigger than what it is desired to be by the people who are on Eurovision, who will be here, and I hope you will too. Have a good night, have a good weekend, and have a good festive season. I think this will be the last Eurovision Uncensored episode for 2025. I don't think I'm going to do an episode next week because I will be in Albania. And I don't think I'm going to do one in the festive season because I need time to switch off and come back stronger in January. I started this series to be able to talk to you guys, to be able to talk to people like Adam, like Sinan, like Eston, like Giorgio, like Ervin, like my Eurovision friends on a deeper level. And I'm not stopping here. So I wish you guys a nice weekend. a great festive season ahead, and find your peace, because it will be worth it. Okay? Don't let anyone ruin what you love. Have a good night. Bye-bye.